I don't want to do this today. I want to kind of cover up a few things. So the reason why I am so tired is, guys, I gave in to TikTok peer pressure. Okay, there we go. So I gave in to TikTok peer pressure, and I started watching the show Euphoria. You guys, it's such a good show. It's so good. It's so freaking good. But, of course, I was up until like 2 a.m. last night watching it. And then my daughter needed to wake up because she, baby, and she's a child, so she doesn't sleep in. So, I have been up. I was up until like 2 last night watching Euphoria. And then I decided to wake up. And I got to sleep in because my daughter is amazing. So I was able to sleep in until like noon. But like I'm still dying. So that's always fun. Alright. So as always, trigger warning for my cases. This case, this was based in 1905 to 1937, or I guess 1982, so 1905 to 1982, and as you guys know, racism was crazy back then, and this is also based in Paris, so if I mispronounce anything, please don't come for me. I looked up how to pronounce some things, and so I'm kind of hoping that I don't mispronounce a lot of the things, because not only will you guys come for me, my sister will definitely come for me, because she has studied French. So yeah. Alright. Oh my gosh. Okay. So today we're talking about the Papin Sisters. And by the way, I most likely will be making gestures that are super weird because I think Papin is such a fun word to say. And so when I figured it out, I was like, Papin! So if you guys see me do that, that's why, because I like the last name. So we're going to be talking about 2 sisters, Lee Papin and Christine Papin. And so Christine, I thought they were twins, but I was wrong. They're just sisters. So Christine Papin was born March 8th, 1905, and Lee Papin was born September 15th, 1911. So there's kind of a pretty big age difference between them. There's about 10 years, but like that's kind of cool, the fact that they were so far apart in age, but they were still so close. Okay. So, born in Le Mans, France, Clomis Deary and Gustave Papin. The Papin sisters came from a troubled family. While Clomis was dating Gustave, it was rumored that she was having an affair with her employee. However, after she became pregnant with Clarice, Gustave married her in October 1901, and 5 months later, her first daughter, Amelia, was born. I'm sorry, guys. I am not 100% here today, so if I get some facts wrong, I'm sorry. I will end up just correcting it as I go. Kind of like I do every video, because I am a hot mess. Suspecting that Clemise was still having an affair with her employee, Gustave found another job in another city and announced the family would be moving. Clarice declared she would rather take her own life than leave Le Mans. The marriage ended up deteriorating, and Gustave began to drink very heavily. So, already, you guys, Clarice and the Papin sisters had a really bad childhood. Even from the beginning, their parents' marriage were just not a good marriage. Should not have been together, but back then, like, there was no such thing as divorce. Like, it was so shunned, in the society that they were in. Like, divorce, I mean, even now, divorce is so cliche, or not cliche, what's the word, come on, Gabby. It's, well, that word left me right away. It's, like, very not spoken of. So, it's, this is gonna bug me. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Hold on. You know, like, we were getting in on the case, I was starting to talk, and then I have to do this. Yep. What is another word for not I don't think this is it. It's definitely not it. This is gonna drive me nuts, guys. I'm gonna pause my video. Okay. Is it going? Sorry, guys. Okay. Alright. Sorry, guys. I did not know if my YouTube video was playing. Anyway, so, like, divorce was super, like, not a thing in 1905. So, like, even though their marriage was very unhappy, and, like, very just not a good thing, like, they couldn't get divorced. So then Christine was born on March 8th, 1905. However, her mother was actually considered not suitable for motherhood. And so Christine was given to her parental aunt and uncle soon after she was born. She lived a very happy life with them for 7 years, and then Leah was born on September 15th, 1911. And she was also given to her maternal uncle, with whom she remained until he died. In 1912, when Amelia was 9 or 10 years old, it was alleged that Gustav had raped her. Clarice accepted that Amelia had seduced her father and sent her to Bon Pasteur Catholic orphanage, which was known for its brutality and discipline. So, you guys, this poor girl had already started to live a horrible life. And so that's kind of like where all of this is coming from. Not trying to say that trauma definitely, if you have trauma, don't go and murder people. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it definitely plays into a lot of the criminals that I cover. A lot of their cases and a lot of other serial killer cases, they it usually starts with abuse from their childhood, which I think is actually kind of weird. And I know there's not a lot of psychological studies on that, but I think that there should be a lot more, so that we can kind of stop it before it happens. But, you know, I'm just a pessimist. I just can't think straight today. Anyway, so okay. Soon after Amelia was joined by Christina and Leah, who Clarice intended would remain at the orphanage until the age of 15, when they could be employed. Clarice and Gustav divorced in 1903 or 1913. It's not solid, but they think that they divorced and then they stayed together, and then they ended up like, fuck you, and they like left. But I'm pretty sure that they stayed together for the kids. I don't know, because at this point the kids weren't even living with them, so I don't see the point. In 1918, Amelia decided to enter a covenant Candidate, effectively ending her relations with her family, as far as can be ascertained. Well, this isn't going as well as I wanted it to. I'm sorry, guys. And my sister is, like, blowing up my phone right now, so I'm sorry. Let's see. As far as people heard and learned, she lived out the remainder of her life in the place where she decided to enter. So I'm gonna look that up as well because I am not. Oh wait, perfect. Oh. Why couldn't they just say nunnery? That's what it is, a nunnery. She joined a nunnery. I hate when words are like that. Okay. Amelia decided to enter a nunnery, effectively ending her relations with all of her family. As far as, like, everybody can kind of piece together, she didn't end up living out the remainder of her life there. During Christine's time with the orphanage, she also received a calling to become a nun. And Clemise actually forbade it. She was like, "You are not doing that." Instead of placing her in employment, Christine had been trained in various household duties in the covenant. I'm just gonna say nunnery, because... nope. Yep. Look at my hot messery. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I was trying to, like, edit what I put in here. So Amelia decided to enter a nunnery. Clemise forbade Christine from doing so. And instead of going into the nunnery, she became a live-in maid. Christine was described as a hard worker, a good cook who could be insubordinate at times. So I don't know if any of you, like, know what insubordinate means. And if you guys don't, please get off my page. You are too young to be on this, listening to this type of shit. But here we go. So insubordinate means, very unable to be detained. So, like, you know, like, doesn't listen to the rules. Brat. She was a brat. She didn't listen. Which, like, back then, like, women were not normally like that. So, there's a lot of times where, like, she was insubordinate and it pissed all of the people off. Her sister, on the other hand, was described as the complete opposite. She was quiet, she was introverted, and she was very obedient. But was considered less intelligent than Christine, which fucked up, but it's the 1900s. Employers were content with their work. However, Clemise was not satisfied with their pay and forced them to seek better paid opportunities. The sisters worked as maids in various lamen's homes. They preferred to work together whenever possible. Alright, so this is when, like, everything starts to get juicy. So, like, you guys kind of know the backstory of everything. Let's focus on what they did to make it onto my channel. In 1926, Christine Loia found live-in positions as maids at 6 Rue Bayeux for the Lassin family. Monsieur René Lassin, a retired solicitor, his wife Madame Léon Lassin, and their young daughter Genevieve lived in the house. Their older daughter was actually married, and so, like, not really that important. After a few months of excellent service, Christine convinced Madame Lassin to hire Lee as a chambermaid. Now, I'm going to look it up because I am not 100% sure I'm pretty sure a chambermaid is like a shit maid. Literal shit maid. But I don't know, so we're going to look it up. Because that is important information to understand. Which, and I'm sorry, if what I am saying is correct, and a chambermaid is literally a shit maid, oh, well, yes and no. So a chambermaid is a shit maid, but there are also many more maids. They are literally like maids. I don't understand why we have to like put fancy words for something, but okay. The two girls ended up dedicating their lives to working long days during their job. However, listen to this, you guys. The two girls, Christine and Louis, started to work for a different family, Madame Leon. Developing, and so the girl that they were working for, she ended up developing depression, and the girls ended up becoming the target of her mental illness. She began to scrutinize the cleaning and becoming critical of the job done. There were various occasions of Madame Lacine physically assaulting the girls, and the abuse worsened. At its peak, she would slam the girls' heads against the wall. On the evening of what is in my eye? Oh my goodness. My daughter looks creepy. Anyway. On the evening of Thursday, February 2nd, Monsieur Lacine was supposed to meet Madame Leon and Genevieve for dinner at the home of a family friend. Madame Leon and Genevieve had been shopping all day. When they returned home that afternoon, no lights were on in the house. The Papin sisters explained to Madame Lacine that there had been a power outage, and that had been caused by Kristen urinating into an electronic socket. So I don't understand why she did that, but okay, fuck that bitch for abusing you, so let's pee into an electric socket. Oh my gosh, my sister's driving me nuts. Hold on. Sorry about that, YouTube. I had to mute my sister on Messenger because we have a group chat with my sister and my mom, and she's like sending a bunch of TikToks, and so I'm literally getting blown up. Hold on, I'm going to be right back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry. Okay. Had to get some water. So like I said, fuck you to the bitch for abusing you. But I don't think peeing into an electrical socket was the best idea. Whatever. So Madame Lacine became pissed. She literally attacked the sisters on the first floor landing. And then Christine lunged at Genevieve and gouged her eyes out. Trigger warning. Please, if you guys cannot handle violence, please leave. Please. I will not be upset. Lee joined in the struggle and attacked Madame Lacine and gouged her eyes out as ordered by Christine. Christine ran downstairs to the kitchen where she retrieved a knife and a hammer. She brought both weapons upstairs where the sisters continued their attack. At some point, one of the sisters grabbed a heavy pewter pitcher and used it to strike both of their heads. Lucille women in the rage, and they mutilated their bottoms, thighs of the victims. So, the way, because I copied and pasted a lot of this because I've been so out of it. I just haven't really had like the motivation to type it all up, so I've just been copying and pasting it. So what it's saying, again, trigger warning, sexual abuse, but in the fact that these two Papin sisters were so over the abuse, which this would actually be considered battered wife syndrome. You don't have to be a wife to be diagnosed with this, but back then that wasn't like a thing. But they were over the abuse to the point where they literally took a heavy fucking picture and they mutilated the bodies of these two females. One, the mother, and two, the daughter, which, oh my god, Mom! Please, please, please work. Okay, I'm coming back. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that, YouTube. My mother-in-law tried to call me. So like I said, like they were so irritated with their boss. They literally mutilated their bodies. Experts who later responded to the scene estimated the attack to last 2 fucking hours. 2 hours, you guys. 2 hours. If you guys don't understand that, like, okay, so they took knife and a hammer. So my demonstration tool is a spoon today. I'm sorry. So, like, if you are stabbing somebody, you are literally, like, putting your body into it. So, and I mean, these guys were mutilated. Their ass, their thighs, most likely their lady parts were also mutilated. So, I mean, that takes a lot of effort. You can't just go psycho on them. You are literally roaming your whole body into the stabbing. That takes a lot of work. At that point, you are exhausted, and it's 2 hours. The attack itself lasted 2 hours. That is so crazy to me. Like, all of it, like, adrenaline for them must last a very long time. Sometime, the father returned home to find the dark house. And he assumed that his wife and his daughter had already left for the dinner party that he was supposed to go to. When he arrived at his friend's house, he found that his family wasn't there, and he was like, what the fuck? Where are my family? Like, the house was dark when I left. Why aren't they here? The entire house was dark when he came home. Again, so he returned with his son-in-law at approximately, we're going to look this up because I'm pretty sure that I know what time it is. But I'm not gonna kind of just give you guys false information. Okay, so at 6:30 or 7, they arrived back home. So the dad and the son-in-law arrived home, and they discovered the entire house was still dark except for one light. The light in the Papin sisters' room. The front door was bolted shut from the inside, so they were actually unable to enter the house. And the two men were like, this is a little weird, let's go to the police. And so they went to the police. Good for them. Good for them. Like, normally when I cover cases like people are like, oh, we're just gonna go somewhere else. Like, this isn't abnormal at all. So they got the police, and then they went home. And the police actually finally figured out how to get in the house by climbing over the garden wall. Once inside, they found the bodies. They found the bodies of the wife and the young girl. And they had both been bludgeoned and stabbed to the point of unrecognizable. Like, they were so mutilated that they couldn't recognize their own wife and daughter. How upsetting would that be, you guys? Oh my god, I couldn't even imagine. Madame Lancines, I'm so sorry guys, I had it and then I lost it. Eyes had been gouged out and were found in the folds of her scarf around her neck. One of Genevieve's eyes were found under her body and another on the stairs nearby. Thinking the Papin sisters had actually met the same fate, the policeman continued upstairs, only to find the room locked. After the officers knocked but received no response, he summoned a locksmith to open the door. Inside, they found the Papin sisters naked, in bed together, a bloody hammer with hair still on it, on a chair nearby. And upon questioning, the sisters immediately were like, yeah, we killed him. Oops, we killed him. What? Oh, it's so upsetting. So, the sisters confessed. They said, yes, we killed them, but it was from self-defense. Of course. It's always self-defense. It's either that or the insanity plea. Which I feel like they could have gotten a lot better with the insanity plea rather than the self-defense plea. Oh, but during the trial, the sisters protected each other and each confessed sole responsibility for the crime. So both sisters are probably getting interrogated, and they're like, nope, I killed him. My sister had nothing to do with them. And vice versa. The sisters were placed in prison, and they were separated from each other. But then Christine became extremely distressed because she could not see Leah. At one point, prison officials relented and allowed the two sisters to meet. And Christina reportedly threw herself at Louis, unbuttoning her blouse and begging her, please say yes, suggesting an incestual sexual relationship. Sex is always involved. Sex isn't even that good. I don't understand. Anyway. In July 1933, Christine experienced a fit, or an episode, in which she tried to gouge her own eyes out and had been put in a straitjacket. She then made a statement to the investigation in which she said that the day on her murders, she had experienced an episode like the one she just had in prison, and that is what actually made the murders happen. The sisters chose a lawyer and pleaded not guilty because of insanity on their behalf, which, good. They need that. Like, these girls have been through shit and hell, and I'm not saying that, like, that's okay, but, like, there's so many cases out there where, like, women break because of the abuse from their partners and they kill them, that I feel like they definitely should get kind of help. So Christine and Louia demonstrated signs of mental illness, such as limiting eye contact, staying straight ahead, and appearing to be in a daze. Well, shit, if that is signs of mental illness, I have it. Sorry, guys. I have it. Oh wait, I already knew that. The court appointed 3 doctors to administer a psychological evaluation of the sisters to determine their mental state. They did conclude that they were not, or they had no mental disorders, and they were sane and fit to stand trial. Which, no. That actually irritates me. I do not feel that is a legitimate thing, and they should have been deemed unfit. But they also believed that Kristen's affection for her sister was based on family ties, not an incestual relationship as others had suggested. However, during 1933 September, during the trial, medical testimony noted a history of mental illness in the family. Alright guys, I'll be right back. All day. Anyway, so they found out that there was like a ton of mental illness in their family. And so they found out their uncle had died by suicide. While their cousin was living in an asylum, the psychological community struggled and debated over a diagnosis for the sisters, and much consideration. It was concluded that Christine Papin and Leah Papin suffered from shared paranoid disorder, which is believed to occur when groups of people are isolated from the world, developing paranoia, and in which one of the partner dominates the other. This is especially true of Leah, whose meek personality was overshadowed and dominated by Christine Papin. After the trial, jurors took only 40 minutes to determine that the Papin sisters were indeed guilty, and they accused Leah to be under the influence of her older sister and was given only a 10-year sentence. Christine was initially sentenced to death at the guillotine, although that sentence was later commuted and changed to life in prison. The separation from Lee proved to be too much for Christine, and her condition deteriorated rapidly once they were apart. She had written various letters pleading to be with Leah. However, her wish was not granted. She experienced bouts of depression and madness, eventually refusing to eat. Prison officials transferred her to a mental institution, hoping that she would benefit from professional help. Still being separated from Leah, she continued to starve herself until she died of malnourishment on May 18, 1937. So sad, you guys. Lee fared better than Christine, serving only 8 years of her 10-year sentence due to good behavior in prison. After her release in 1941, she lived in a town where she was joined by her mother, and she did assume a false identity and earned a living as a hotel maid. Some accounts state that Lee died in 1982, but French film producer Claudia Ventura claims to have discovered Lee living in a hospice center in France in 2000 while creating the film. I'm never going to be able to pronounce that in English, In Search of the Papin Sisters. The woman claims to be with Leah, and Leah had suffered a stroke which had rendered her partially paralyzed and unable to speak. The woman did die in 2001. The sisters were buried together in Clamine-Berich. I'm never going to pronounce that. I apologize. So, I don't think, in my opinion, and anybody, please comment if you guys think that I'm wrong for saying this, I don't think they should have been buried together. I don't. I do not believe that burying them together was a good idea. Mostly because, as the case proved, through Christine was the ringleader. and she literally took Lee's way of living in the house she was and manipulated her into so much. I just don't feel like that was a good decision. But they are family, so what can you do? So that's it. We're gonna do our minute of silence for the victims. And then we will end my YouTube video. Before I start my minute of silence for the victims, if you guys are watching from YouTube, please click subscribe, click the notification bell so you guys can be notified for when I post, because I post 3 times a week. On TikTok, thank you guys for joining. I'm actually not going to be ending my TikTok video when I'm done with this. I'm going to be cleaning my house as I normally do. Yeah, so let's start our minute of silence. Alright guys, thank you guys for joining again. If you guys are on my YouTube channel, click like, click the notification bell if you guys have subscribed, and comment down below what you want me to cover next. Thank you guys for joining so much. Bye.